Hi, everybody. Dale from Michigan Deer Hunters. I thought I'd give you all a little insight of my experience that I had with Michigan Deer Initiative. I was actually chosen to be on that panel for the Lower Peninsula. Very appreciative of been chosen, and it was something I was really got to know a lot of great people, gained a lot of new friends in that group, and just really appreciate it for the time and the opportunity to be able to get to know some other people within the hunting community and personnel within the DNR. So it was really a good learning experience. I was notified early February, and we had our first kind of a preliminary meeting when I think it was end of February, just kind of heads up how things were going to work, dates things were going to start, and just how each meeting was really going to be run. I think from the get-go, one thing that really stood out was kind of what I call like the lack of opposing points of view. I know each meeting basically we had topics, and so I'm forgetting. I'm going to read these off. Each meeting we had topics. Each meeting would probably run 2.5 hours. They were evenings, and we would all just meet up online. Some of the meetings were just Lower Peninsula. Some were through both. Join with Upper Peninsula and Lower Peninsula, so it was just depending on which topics were going on. But we had topics like deer population harvest, northern hardwoods research. We actually had a DNR biologist from the Wisconsin Deer Management talk to us one evening. R3, recruitment, retention, reactivation. That involves just recruitment and keeping hunters and trying to gain more hunters. Came up with some good ideas, I thought, with that. Climate change, how that's affecting deer hunting, that was definitely brought up in a topic. One presentation, venison donation, Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger, and a lot of other organizations that help out with that. Forest impacts, deer impacts to agriculture, the UP predator prey deer migration, deer wintering complexes through the UP, and basically had a topic just on wolves. And then a lot of controversy when it came with the CWD and TB issues, things that were going on with that. So a lot of topics were discussed, and I think from the get-go, like I was saying, I think I'll mention two things. First of all, each meeting was what I call really a presentation. And it was very informative. We had a person from a DNR, whether it was a biologist, whether it was an expert on the panel, whether it was somebody from Wisconsin on one meeting, basically give input. They would speak for probably about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, which I know you can talk to a lot of people in that group. And I know one thing that kind of stands out would be kind of lack of time as far as really to get a lot of input out from people in the groups. I mean, when you figure each meeting online, a lot of times there'd be up to 60 people in the meeting, and when you have at the very end 20 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer to have people who want to talk and ask questions, really doesn't allow a lot of time for people to really get a good discussion going. So I know that was one issue that a lot of people had kind of said really needs to be addressed or should have been addressed more. But I mean, they're on a time span or a time frame, so I understand that too. And they were good from the get-go. They had released a survey on how to, or not how to, but what's going to be best for everybody's schedule, time span. So that was agreed on, which was nice that they were trying to work with us because half of us or probably mass majority of us are just average Joe, average Jane Americans, still working a full-time job. So I wanted to make sure we had time for that. But I think, like you said, one thing that really I would have liked to have seen would have been more opposing points of view from some other people. Where I got that right from the very beginning was, I know one of the people in the meeting had asked, when they were talking about they would have different people from DNR come in and talk, they'd asked if other people could be invited to talk. I know one name that came up was John Azoga, and that was kind of dismissed on the fact that he really was kind of up in age a little bit and really wasn't doing too many like podcasts or too many like online type I don't know, just basically type of meetings like this. And yet what kind of stood out for me was, I think it was maybe a week or two later, I had seen John on a couple podcasts that some other outdoor personalities had interviewed him talking on the topic of deer management. He's an DNR biologist. So I would have liked to have seen some people like that. Everything based on this whole thing was through the science and data driven. I mean, that's what your decisions are made on. So when you're getting every single meeting, every single presentation was from a DNR data, I mean, you're never really, when you're having to make decisions totally off of that, you're never getting opposing views per se. So I know there's a lot of people that, especially when you get into some of the topics when it comes to CWD, things like that, really would have been nice to kind of get some other points of view. And I know there's a lot of other people from throughout the United States that have some other points of view, ideas, things like that, just to get a better understanding and a better viewpoint from more than just a what I call a one-sided argument. So I think that could have been, to me, improved. That's one thing I kind of really would have liked to have seen changed a little bit more. But everybody, I mean, on the off times, everybody had each other's emails. We were able to contact each other, talk about different topics that were coming up. Because I think probably about halfway through, I think a lot of people were kind of wondering, really, where are we going with this? I mean, it was basically we would log in, listen to a presentation, ask a few questions at the end, and then move on. So I know one thing that I had brought up in an email was the very first meeting, kind of going back to that, we were given, prior to this, you hunters across Michigan were given that survey or an option to send in your comments, what you thought should be changed or what you would like in Michigan. We were given, not the names of the people, but they had given us copies, files of every single one that they received. And there was page and page and page of people and comments that people had sent in. Like I said, there wasn't no names attached, but every comment that you, the hunter, you, the outdoorsman, outdoorswoman, had sent in on that topic prior to this meeting starting, we got. I know we were told that was our homework to read through all that. So, I mean, it took me a couple evenings after work going through all these and reading each and every one. And I think it was probably about halfway through I kind of made a comment where it's like, are we really going to ever just talk about that? I mean, we really never brought up, I mean, we had all these comments. It was kind of what they called, and they literally used the word homework. I'm thinking, how are we addressing that? Shouldn't we have a meeting on just that topic? What are hunters worried about? What are hunters talking about? What are their concerns? I mean, because this was really what I thought this was really about was, yes, I mean, everything needs to be science data driven, but on the other hand, too, what are hunters worried about? What are hunters concerned? And so I never really felt that we really addressed that. So I think there's just a lot of things that down the road, if they continue to do this, I think that really in my mind, I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I mean, there's a lot of views in that group on how they took things and how things went. So eventually we met so these went on from like early March till, what was that? I think the middle of May. Towards the end of the May, our Lower Peninsula meeting was up in Bay City for 2 days. So once again, I thought it was kind of a rush process. I mean, we got a lot done. Everybody was very cordial. Everybody worked together. I thought it was nice. We met in rooms. We had tables of maybe 6-8 people on each table. I thought it was nice where they were rearranging people through fun games to kind of, that way everybody's getting to know everybody. And because everybody there has different ideas, different topics, different mindset on how things should be. So I thought it was good that there was no chance that people were going to just like what I call group up. So everybody was able to keep rotating around in the process, getting to know people and face to face, and really getting to be good friends. I gained a lot of good friends through that day and throughout the whole process. Appreciative of that. A lot of people I wouldn't have met if it wasn't for that, so I really appreciate that. And there was just a lot of people, a variety of people in that group. So it wasn't just special interests or anything like that focused on. So the meeting there in Bay City to come to our final decisions was really just a process of, it was about a day and a half's worth, which I thought, for all the time we'd spent prior, I thought that was kind of quick to come up with a final decision. And there was regulatory and non-regulatory things that can be done. I know a lot of, I didn't even know. I mean, changing something to a $1, earn a buck, that all has to go through a legislative action, which really would be a process of 3, 4, 5 years possibly. So that's something I didn't know. But there's other things non-regulatory that can be done immediately that could change this year. So there was 2 different things we were really focusing on each topic. What legislative or not regulatory and regulatory that could be done basically or looked into. So we spent a lot of time going through a lot of charts, writing a lot of things on the wall, kind of voting on different things, talking about things, throwing different ideas out there, and came down to the very end. I mean, we had a couple charts on the wall with a list of what you're basically voting on, what you think is the best chart on the wall that best matches your ideas. I know even at the very end, the one that was agreed on, it was voted on, I know still there was some discussions where not everything on that chart everybody agreed with. But I mean, it's kind of what happens. I mean, it's going to be tough always to get a agreement within everything. So realistically wise, I mean, we really went through and came up with those final ideas in about a day and a half. And yet we had spent hours and hours and hours listening to presentations and data the DNR put out to us that we were supposed to use through that. So once again, I think the biggest thing that I would have liked to have seen more in my mind was more addressing what I call the hunter's needs. Because, I mean, considering we've received hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments from hunters in those emails that we read through, I don't think that was really massively addressed. I mean, which I thought could have been really talked about more. Maybe a lot of things couldn't have been, some could have been, but I think that was, a little bit more ignored in my mind. That could have helped the process, I thought. Maybe something wouldn't have agreed with the way science and things have to be addressed in Michigan, but I thought it could have at least been really brought up more, because really that's the point of this whole group, was to really get the input from hunters, not just the select group of us in this DMI unit or DMI committee. I thought it was really more addressing all the hunters of Michigan. So what's going to happen tomorrow, or what's going to happen today? Basically, this is July 11th, NRC's meeting with their final vote on deer regulations for this fall. What's going to come of it? What's good? What's bad? I don't know myself. I know, listening to some other podcasts, I know some ideas I think that were thrown out there. I think the baiting issue, to me, I think that from what I've heard, that's kind of dead on arrival already. I know that was added into one of the ideas, and that was another hot topic. So it's hard when you're looking at, I mean, when you're going through all this information, you do realize you're you're not only, or the DNR is not having to deal with, and the NRC is not just the deer hunters, but I mean, they're also the logging community, farming community, homeowners. That is all grouped into Michigan. That's going to be applied with Michigan regulations also. So that's something that it does play effect. I mean, like it or not. So that does come into decisions. So it'll be interesting to see what happens today. I think the meeting starts sometime in the morning. They're in Lansing, and as soon as I find anything out, or if any of you do, give me a message. We can kind of hopefully find out. I'm not sure if we're going to know today or not, but they are voting on things today on what is going to be set up for this fall. Is anything going to be controversial that's going to pass? I don't personally know. I just wanted to give you tonight a little insight of my input. Once again, I wanted to thank everybody for that opportunity. I really did learn a lot of things. Information was great. People I met, I mean, I met some really good friends. I've gained some good friends through that. And I just really am thankful for that opportunity. And I look forward to, I mean, it's, even on this page, I mean, if you're following my page, Michigan Deer Hunters, I thank you for following me. And I've always tried to look at what you, the Michigan Deer Hunter, is really dealing with, what's on your mind. And I think one thing I've learned running that page, you're never really going to make everybody happy. I mean, when I ask a simple question, what would you like to see changed? There's no one common topic. I mean, there's a lot of different ideas, suggestions, things people want. So a lot of ideas that some might happen, some might not, and probably going to be some upset people, going to be some happy people. But overall, we're looking at the health of the Michigan deer herd. We're looking at the health of hopefully dealing with any issues that we have within the deer hunting that's going on right now in the state. And I know one of the main topics I can tell you right now that was addressed throughout, at least myself in the Lower Peninsula group, was really the topic of high density deer. I mean, really, that was the main topic: how to control the amount of deer that are out there, especially in southern counties. But it wasn't really just southern counties they were talking about. I mean, they were showing studies of, the damage that deer are doing in certain areas in the Lower Peninsula and the Upper Peninsula, and why they want to reduce deer numbers, and really they want to get more does, antlerless deer shot. Critical enough where I know they've talked, somebody had asked, and they pretty much admitted right out, in future years to come, I mean, if hunters can't do what we need to do, I mean, pretty much anything's on the table, even hiring professional hunters. I mean, if it comes to that, I mean, that's how bad they feel they want to drop the deer numbers in these areas. So they're hoping that hunters can do that issue or do that control on their own. I know with deer hunter numbers dropping, it's getting tougher to hit those quotas that they want. But so it's a tough situation, and I don't envy people making those decisions as far as what these final regulations are going to be. But I wanted to thank you tonight. I just thought I'd give you a little rundown as far as what my input was. I don't have anything bad to say about the whole thing. I think I'm very grateful once again for the opportunity to be able to sit there, represent as a Michigan deer hunter. But like anything, I think there was some bad things with it. I think there was a lot of good things with it. Met a lot of good people, and I'm just hoping maybe if they continue to do this, maybe make some tweaks to how they're doing it. But I think just the fact that average Joe hunters, and even not even just hunters, there was people from other communities or other type of professions on this board that we were actually allowed to at least sit down with the DNR and actually say what was on our mind and give our input. So that right there, to me, what comes of this, I don't know, but I'm thankful for that, because a lot of times you don't get a voice, and I felt at least we did all have a voice, and which was nice. So we will see. So today is the vote. I'm going to try to, if I can find the link somewhere, pop that up for you guys. And as soon as I find something out, what this fall's regulations are going to officially be, I will let you know. And once again, I wanted to thank you. Thank you for being a follower of Michigan Deer Hunters. Look forward to a great deer season regardless, whatever happens. Look forward to seeing all your successful hunters and just enjoying a sport and activity that we all enjoy a lot. Thank you very much, and keep in touch. Take care.